Different levels I cannot relate. You never win if you playing it safe. It's all a game until you get played.
Welcome to a special episode of It's Culture Podcast. My name is Mark, and tonight, so I just want to talk about the news and everything that's been going on with the NFL draft. That's what happened. And big story out of the weekend was where Shedeur Sanders landed at. And it had media all over the country in a frenzy from Thursday until, frankly, Monday. And it's funny to me that this is going on because I think it took away from a good draft. And we're going to talk about that next. But first, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates when I go post videos or either when I go live. And as I say on all my shows, thank you all to everyone who's subscribing to the channel and commenting. I appreciate that. Got some merch coming. The It's Culture Podcast t-shirt. Hope y'all can see that. It's coming. Merch coming. That's going to be coming soon. Just testing out a few different samples right now to see what I like before I put it out. But if you want to get some merch, it's going to be coming soon. Help support the channel. But let's get into it. Like I said, the social media and the media itself was in a frenzy. Started on Thursday night when the NFL had the 2025 draft. The Tennessee Titans selected Cam Ward with the number 1 pick. I don't think anybody in the media had an issue with that. Everybody, they universally recognized him as being one of the best quarterbacks. Some people have him as the best quarterback in the draft, and he was about to get paid as he was the best. And then it was where Shedeur was going to go next. And you saw the first round, how it went down. Second pick was Travis Hunter. That was a trade the Cleveland Browns made. And they moved back. And then that sparked the Giants, who a lot of people thought he may go to the Giants at number 3. Abdul Carter went in that spot. And then the Cleveland Browns had the 4th pick, and they decided to go with Mason Graham, a defensive tackle out of Michigan. And it was like, okay, what's going on here? And then it was like, well, maybe, because the media had said, Shedeur would be good with the Saints. The Saints got the 9th pick. That's probably where he's going to end up at. Nope, the Saints didn't pick him either. And then you start looking at the teams that were behind the Saints, and you're looking at them like, nah, none of these teams need him. So the consensus was amongst all the media pundits and those who do this for a living and evaluate talent that perhaps it's the Steelers. He's going to end up with Mike Tomlin at 21. No, they took a defensive tackle. And then the Giants traded back up into the first round, and that's where everybody thought that Shedeur might go with the 25th pick. Nope. They decided to go with Jackson Dart. So the first night ended, Shedeur didn't get picked. And the media was in a frenzy. He's a first round grade. He's a first round talent. Well, I don't know what happened. What happened? And he started hearing all these rumors. But some of this stuff had been in the media for a couple of months now. Second day comes, rounds 2 and 3. 3 more quarterbacks come off the board. None of them are Shedeur Sanders. It's Tyler Shuck to the New Orleans Saints, Jalen Milroe to the Seattle Seahawks, and Dylan Gabriel to the Cleveland Browns. And at that point, when round 3 was over with, you started kind of wondering, is Shedeur even going to get drafted? Is he going to be an undrafted free agent? people started speculating. Was this because of Deion Sanders? Then you start hearing the rumors about the interview with Brian Daboll, how it went completely horrible. And that before the draft, people said that he had a weak arm and lacked mobility. He wasn't fluid. He took a lot of sacks. They think that his numbers are inflated because he took a lot of sacks, and his completion percentage will probably be a lot lower had he not taken all those sacks. He doesn't have the elusiveness of a Jaden Daniels. They said he didn't have the arm strength of a Cam Ward. So what was it? Media speculated it might be an indictment on Deion. At least that's what Stephen A. said. So rounds 4 commences, still not picked. And then round 5 comes around, and then the Cleveland Browns trade back up and take him with the 144th pick. While all this is going on, there is a prank call that's being done by him that was completely idiotic on the son of the defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulrich, for the Atlanta Falcons son, Jack, 21-year-old son, Jack, decided going to play a prank. Got away with the prank, but then he became a dummy and decided to post it on social media. That became a story in his own self. How he got the number. Well, it was on his dad's iPad, the phone numbers of the athletes. Each athlete gets a different cell phone for the draft, so that way they don't have to worry about people calling while the draft is going on, bothering them. They'll know exactly when they get the call who it's from. It's going to be a team calling. So he tried to act like he was Mickey Loomis from the New Orleans Saints, think he was playing a prank, and then posted it on social media like a dummy and got flamed. Atlanta Falcons had to come out with a statement, as well as Jax. He said he apologized to Shedeur for it. But it still didn't stop the media from trying to figure out why Shedeur fell. The estimate for him falling from the first round to the 5th round is $30 million in salary. That's what he lost out on. $30 million. Some people say he got the money. Got the NIL. He got all this stuff. Gatorade. Got all these endorsements. Yeah, he does. But how many of these endorsements are going to stick around for a person who isn't the face of a franchise? We'll see. And this story about Shedeur not getting taken took up the media all weekend long. A lot of guys were getting drafted. Their shine, their light, the first overall pick, Cam Ward, his light got dimmed completely because of this stuff with Shedeur. And here's my take on it. Here's my take. There is nobody to blame for this besides Deion and Shedeur themselves. And I'm going to say this again. There's nobody to blame for this. I'm not putting no onus on no owners for no collusion, as some people suggested. I'm resting this one at the feet of the person who got picked at 144 and the daddy of the person who got picked at 144. Now, hear me out. Before the draft, people were talking, the pundits, all these people, these evaluators, people who evaluate talent. None of these people are in the locker room. The Mel Kipers, Louis Riddicks, Ian Rappaport, Todd McShay, Adam Schefter. You name it. They're not in these meetings, nor are they in the locker rooms. So they get all their information from somebody in there that's talking anonymously, or some of their friends and colleagues that they know throughout the NFL that say things. Before the draft, there was talks that he bombed his interview. And I saw his presentation at the combine when he had his hat to the back and gold chain, and he was like, "Hey, if you want me, if you don't draft me." And then you saw Deion saying that there were certain teams that they were staying away from and all this. So this is the stuff I'm talking about. None of this stuff had anything to do on the field. On the field, 70% completion percentage, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this season. Lost his bowl game. Okay. Swagger, bravado like his dad. The endorsements. I talked about all that. NIL, marketed. Hey, box office, right? Shedeur Sanders, the name of Deion. Box office. You come to your franchise, instant media attention. The media itself said they didn't want to deal with it because of Deion Sanders. Deion went on Tamarind Hall and made a proclamation. And that proclamation was his son was going to play for certain teams. I think that was the start of the decline. Now, at Colorado, he got some passing records. I didn't think his jersey should have been retired. I'm not a hater. I'm just speaking facts. Cordell Stewart jersey ain't retired at Colorado. If they would have won a national championship, maybe. But he won some games. He was 13-12 as a starting quarterback at Colorado. That don't scream elite. Now, granted, they had to total rebuild and whatever. I get that. Had a better season this year. I get that. People thought he was up for the Heisman. All that. I think a lot of it was the people in the media were writing stories, hyping it up, putting them up there. But then you go look at the film and it don't. I mean, you had Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr., Levante Weber, what's his name? Webster? Levante Webster. You had all these wide receivers. Y'all had no running game. So, of course, your numbers going to be inflated because y'all couldn't run the ball. So, I think a lot of these evaluators, the ones who are on TV, who are friends with Deion, they didn't want to poke the bear. They didn't want to get on Deion's bad side. So, they couldn't do it from an objective lens because they're friends with him. I just don't see an NFL team, an owner, who is trying to win a Lombardi would feel if Shedeur Sanders was a first-round graded talent and they needed a quarterback, that they would somehow trade back into the draft and not take him if they didn't feel that he was a first-round pick. Now, hear me out. Laremy Tunsil, when he came out of Ole Miss, was regarded as the best offensive tackle in college football. He was going to be the number 1 overall pick that year he came out. On draft day, a picture surfaced with him with a bong mask on. A bong mask. Like he had just got finished hitting a good one. He dropped 12 spots. He didn't fall out of the first round. He went 13th overall to the Dolphins. Why? Because the Dolphins knew, and he was a first-round talent for a reason, because he got to Miami and became an All-Pro. That's why he's still in the league now as an All-Pro, getting paid as an All-Pro, because he is one of the best left tackles in all of college football. He was the best left tackle in all of college football. He's one of the best left tackles in all of the NFL. So Shedeur was this dude, regardless on what the prestige, the bravado, the status, the name, whatever. If he was that good, if he was that man, if he was the guy, and you need a quarterback, there is no way in hell you're going to sit up and tell me that they wouldn't have drafted him high as hell. We have seen a lot of quarterbacks go high as hell to teams, and I'm looking at them like, who? Josh Rosen. What? What y'all seeing this dude? They saw something I saw a bus while he was at Cal. I'm like, this dude ain't, man, what? Man, come on, man. Guy ain't no quarterback. Stop playing. So I just don't see, I don't see it. I don't see it. Now, maybe it might be something. You know, I can't rule it out. People want to bring up Colin Kaepernick. I'm not, because Cap had his chance and Cap blew it. And he my frat brother. And I'll tell that to his face. You had your chance, you blew it. When you decided that you didn't want to do the NFL's camp at Flowery Branch, and you decided that you wanted to go on the other side of Atlanta and do a workout at a high school football field, you blew your chance. Because the owners weren't going to bring you back, but the NFL wanted to make sure. They wanted to do the workout. And you blew that. So that's why you're not in the NFL right now. Got nothing to do with, you taking a knee. We way past that now. This had all to do with the fact that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So I just don't see it. I just don't see collusion. I just think that they hedged their bet and they lost. Y'all ever been to Vegas and they always say like the house wins? I think this is what this was. This was a house win. You're not going to tell us that you're not going to, number one, is this, I think is crazy. Even though Archie Manning did it with Eli. I get it. We got precedents there. It's happened once. I'm not going to say that it was trash then and it's trash now. You should, if playing it in the NFL is what you want to do, then you should take the opportunity where it comes from. What happened to somebody showing value in you, right? Go where you're celebrated, not where you tolerated, right? What if you go there and the franchise might be bad, but you might be the missing piece? Look at the Commanders. You might be one player away. Look at the Texans. I'm not going to compare him to Lamar Jackson. Nobody in that draft thought that Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback coming out that year. A lot of teams thought that he should convert and be a wide receiver. Or some gadget player like Josh Cribbs. Nobody saw him as a quarterback. He ended up being one, but nobody saw him as one. He saw himself, but they didn't. I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see it. He gonna have a hard time making this roster now. Now, Cleveland got 5 quarterbacks. Now, I've always been of the mindset if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. They got 5. But Cleveland hasn't had a quarterback since Bernie Kosar. And this is the second time they had to just say franchise. They have started since they became an expansion team and came back into the NFL after their original team left and went to Baltimore. The Browns have had almost 40 starting quarterbacks for them. And this is over a 20-year time span. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now they have Deshaun Watson, who's coming off an Achilles tear. He's not going to be ready for the season. Deshaun hasn't played one full season for the Browns yet, and they gave this man $250 million guaranteed. He hasn't played one full season. Jimmy Haslam said that was the worst decision they made because they gave up a bunch of draft picks to get him. They thought they had their quarterback, and they gave up a bunch of draft picks for it. It was the worst mistake of his life. Yep, and you gave him fully guaranteed money. They also have Joe Flacco, who's a Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback, but he's up in age, almost 40. Then they have Kenny Pickett, a first-round pick from 3 years ago, who washed out at Pittsburgh, got traded to Philly, and now he's on his third team in 3 years. Third team in 3 years. He's on the team now. And then they drafted Dylan Gabriel, like I said, who went to Oregon at quarterback in the 3rd round. And then Shedeur in the 5th round. So Just kind of reminds me. Well, it doesn't, because I want to say this kind of reminds me of the Commanders when they had RG3 and Kirk Cousins get drafted in the same draft. I don't know what the Browns are doing right here. But what I will say is, Shedeur gonna have to go ball to make this roster. Most teams in the NFL do not keep no more than 2, maybe possibly 3 quarterbacks on their active roster at any given time throughout the season. That 53-man roster. If they could slide in another special teamer, another offensive tackle, another defensive player, they would do it. So he gonna have to go to camp and prove it. Because there's a lot of people out here who feel like he's a Nepo baby. And that everything that he has done has been handed to him on a silver platter. And he hasn't faced no adversity. So it might be some people out there that might want to see him have to earn something. I don't know. I wasn't in those meetings. Neither were you. We don't know what was said in those meetings. But from the reports coming out from the Giants camp, they say he bombed the interview. Now, I will say, I find that hard to believe, considering the fact that his dad knows exactly what it takes to be an NFL professional. Now, if Shedeur went in there and bombed this interview, that's on him. But I just find it hard to believe that he wasn't prepared for it. But like I said, I wasn't there. So I don't know. But he going to have to fight and claw to make this roster with the Browns. And he can win the job. I'm not saying that Flacco is going to be the man. I'm not saying that Kenny Pickett is going to be the man. I'm not even saying Dylan Gabriel going to be the man. But he going to have to go to training camp and ball out. This is the first time in his life where his dad couldn't control a situation. You saw the frustration permeating on Deion's face as they kept flashing back to him throughout the entire draft. You saw it. He knew for the first time in his life he couldn't protect his son from this. You got to go through it. Now, Deion said he's going to be involved in some of the meetings with the Browns. I think that's a bad idea. I understand that's your son, but I also think that it's time for you to take the gloves off. You were a head coach of Colorado. You need to focus your attention on them boys at Colorado. It's time for Shedeur to be a man. It's time for him to to pull his pants up and go out here and get it and work and do everything that he needs to do as a man on his own without you being hovering over him as the protective father. All right? The kid gloves got to come off, Deion. It is time. It's time for him to prove that he can do it without you. And I think that is the message that the NFL wants to prove. Is can he do it without you? Because if he goes to Cleveland and washes out, they're going to say, see, y'all did all that talking over draft day. Y'all ruined all these other boys' draft night because y'all was concerned about this guy. And look at him. He got this grade. He got drafted at this position right here because this is what he was. He was a 5th round talent. He was the 6th best quarterback in this draft. But if he goes to Cleveland and balls out and makes the roster and becomes a starter and has a Hall of Fame career, then we'll come back to that and say, you know what? Something went on and it was funny. I'm not going to rush to judgment so quickly because I don't know. Because this chapter is just beginning. We got OTAs, we got minicamp, OTAs, and we got training camp. We're going to find out all we need to know about Shedeur Sanders over the next 4 months to see if he is an NFL quarterback or he going to be playing in the UFL next year. We'll see. So y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. I don't know if he's going to make the roster or not. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all think he's going to make the roster? And if he does make the roster, do y'all also think that he's going to be the starter before the end of the season? Because it's going to be a clown show. Y'all, we know that the cameras are going to be in Cleveland. So all the media is going to flock their way to Berea, Ohio for the Browns camp. I wouldn't be surprised if HBO Hard Knocks don't try to get the Browns to be back on it again for this particular reason. Cause this is gonna be must see TV. So thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, Coach Nation, let's keep it coaching.